Greetings and welcome to my channel. On today's menu we have some dangerous deals some people made with the devil himself or some of his demons to gain power, money or some other earthly wealths. All you have to do in return is to give your soul, so after you die you'll spend eternity in hell or some not really nice place. How desperate you have to be to even think about something like that? Well, apparently some people were desperate enough. By subscribing to my channel, I won't ask you for your soul, so you are safe to do it. And if you also like the video, I may consider not to hunt you from the afterlife. Deal? Great. Let's get down to business. The devil's contract is an ancient belief that mortals can sell their soul to the devil or a powerful demon in exchange for a vast wealth and absolute power at the cost of being damned to spend the rest of the eternity in hell. The idea of making a deal with the devil has appeared many times in works of popular culture. These pacts with the devil can be found in many genres, including books, music, comics, theater, movies, TV shows and games. When it comes to making a contract with the devil, they all share the same prevailing desire. A mortal wants some worldly good for their own selfish gain, but in exchange they must give up their soul for eternity. Generally, when Satan is depicted in these works, he is represented as a red-skinned man with horns or pointed ears on his head, hoovers or bird legs, a forked tail or one with a stinger, and a pitchfork. When trying to blend in or deceive somebody, often he is represented as a plain human being, and in some instances only his voice is heard.
The devil doesn't come dressed in red cape and pointy horns. He comes as everything you have ever wished for.
A deal with the devil, also called the Faustian bargain or Mephistophelian bargain, is a cultural motif in European folklore, best exemplified by the legend of Faust and the figure of Mephistopheles, as well as being elemental to many Christian traditions. According to traditional Christian belief about witchcraft, the pact is between a person and Satan, or a lesser demon. The person offers their soul in exchange for diabolical favors. Those favors vary by the tale, but tend to include youth, knowledge, wealth, fame and power. It was also believed that some people made this type of pact just as a sign of recognizing the minion as their master in exchange for nothing. Nevertheless, the bargain is considered a dangerous one, as the price of the feat's service is the wager's soul. The tale may have a moralizing end with the eternal damnation for the foolhardy adventurer. Conversely, it may have a comic twist in which a wily peasant outwits the devil. Characteristically, on their technical point, the person making the pact sometimes tries to outwit the devil, but loses in the end. For example, man sells his soul for eternal life because he will never die to pay his end of the bargain. Immune to the death penalty, he commits murder, but is sentenced to life in prison. Great achievements might be credited to a pact with the devil. From the many European Devil's Bridges to the violin virtuosity of Giuseppe Tartini and Niccolo Paganini, to the crossroad myth associated with Robert Johnson. It was usually thought that the person who had made a pact also promised the demon to kill children or consecrate them to the devil at the moment of birth. Many midwives were accused of this, due to the number of children who died at birth in Middle Ages and the Renaissance. Take part in witches' sabbats, have sexual relations with demons, and sometimes engender children from the succubus or an incubus in the case of women.
The devil doesn't come dressed in red cape and pointy horns. He comes as everything you have ever wished for.
The pact can be either oral or written. An oral pact may be made by means of invocations, conjuration, or rituals to attract the demons. Once the conjurer thinks the demon is present, they ask for the wanted favor and offer their soul in exchange, and no evidence is left. But according to some witch trails, an oral pact left evidence in the form of the witch's mark where the marked person has been touched by the devil to seal the pact. The mark could be used as a proof to determine that the pact was made. It was also believed that on the spot where the mark was left, the marked person could feel no pain. A written pact consists in the same forms of attracting the demon, but includes a written act, usually signed with the conjurer blood. Although sometimes it was also alleged that the whole act had to be written with the blood. Meanwhile, some demonologists defended the idea of using red ink instead of the blood, and others suggested that the use of animal blood instead of the human blood. These acts were presented often as a proof of diabolical pacts, though critics claim there is no proof of whether they were authentic, written by insane person believing they were actually dealing with a demon, or just were fake acts presented by the tribunals. Usually the acts included strange characters that were said to be the signature of a demon, and each one had his own signature or seal. Books like The Lesser Key of Solomon give a detailed list of these signs, known as diabolical signatures. The Malleus Maleficiarum discusses several alleged instances of pact with the devil, especially concerning women. It was considered that all witches and warlocks have made a pact with one of the demon, usually Satan. According to demonology, there is a specific month, day of the week and the hour to call each demon, so the invocation for a pact has to be done at the right time. Also, as each demon has a specific function, a certain demon is invoked depending on what the conjurer is going to ask. In the narrative of Synoptic Gospels, Jesus is offered a series of bargains by the devil, in which he is promised worldly riches and glory in exchange for serving the devil rather than the God. Upon rejecting the devil's overtures, he embarks on his travels as the Messiah.
The devil doesn't come dressed in red cape and pointy horns. He comes as everything you have ever wished for.
The predecessor of Faustus in Christian mythology is Theophilus, friend of God or beloved of God. The unhappy and despairing cleric, disappointed in the worldly career by his bishop, who sell his soul to the devil, but it's redeemed by the Virgin Mary. His story appears in the 6th century. A 9th century Miraculum Sancte Mariae de Theophilio Penitente inserts a virgin as intermediary with Diabolus, his patron, providing the prototype of a closely linked series in the Latin literature of the West. In the 10th century, the poet Nan adopted the text of Paulus Diaconus for a narrative poem that elaborates Theophilus' essential goodness and internalizes the seduction of good and evil, in which the devil is Magus, a necromancer. As in her model, Theophilus receives back his contract from the devil, displays it to the congregation, and soon dies. Here are a few of most famous alleged diabolical pacts in history. Jonathan Moulton, 18th century brigadier general of the New Hampshire militia, alleged to have sold his soul to the devil to have his boots filled with the gold coins when hanged by the fireplace every month. Giuseppe Tartini, Venetian violinist and composer who believed that the Devil's Trill Sonata was inspired by the devil's appearance before him in a dream. Niccolo Paganini, Italian violinist who may not have started the rumor, but play along with it. Philippe Moussard, French composer and more importantly orchestra leader, whose while conducting concert generated the rumor while a celebrity in Paris in the 1830s. Robert Johnson, blues musician who legend claims met Satan at the crossroads and signed over his soul to play the blues and gain mastery of the guitar.
The devil doesn't come dressed in red cape and pointy horns. He comes as everything you have ever wished for.
In folklore, crossroads may represent a location between two worlds, and as such a site where supernatural spirits can be contacted and paranormal events can take place. Symbolically, it can mean a location where two realms touch and therefore represents a place literally neither here nor there, betwixt and between. Some 20th century blues songs such as Sold It to the Devil by Black Spider Dumpling may be about making a deal with the devil at the crossroads. Many modern listeners believe that the premier song about soul selling at the crossroads is a Crossroad Blues by Robert Johnson. Johnson died on August 16, 1938 at the age of 27 near Greenwood, Mississippi, of unknown causes. His death was not reported publicly. He merely disappeared from the historical record, and it was not until almost 30 years later when Gail Dean, a Mississippi-based musicologist researching Johnson's life, found his death certificate, which listed only the date and the location, with no official cause of death. This, of course, only deepened the belief that he really made a pact with the devil, and the devil came to collect the price.
The devil doesn't come dressed in red cape and pointy horns. He comes as everything you have ever wished for.
So what do you think about this kind of deal? I would really like to know, so leave your comments down below. If you have any interesting stories you would like to share, true, fictional, creepypasta, legends, whatever fits channel content, send it my way. Emails are on the screen and in the description box. If you need any copyright-free background videos, visit my other channel, Monarch Free Videos, and see if there's something you can use in your own creations. No need to ask for permission. Thank you for stopping by, stay safe, and I'll see you soon.